Well, it's back to square one again. The correct spokes came in yesterday, and we'll try them, and I'm probably going to capitulate on my, I want to call it interleaving, where you wind the spokes in amongst each other. Because looking at my other wheel, when you interleave them like that, they tend to suck in around the hub. The two heads come together, but also there's a little deflection in it, and the spokes shorten up by about 1 millimeter, maybe a little bit more. And I don't know, on Inviolo's app you can download for spoke length, whether or not that is taken into consideration, that interleaving of the two spokes on the length that you get with. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do it anyway, as opposed to going uncrossed or uninterleaved. So let me reset up and we'll start over again. Well, I've taken my tape off, but I already know right here it's 1, 2, 3 from the middle. So I got my K1. So we'll go ahead and put that one. It's a Audi. Oops, I forgot to lube it. Bring around. K1 is the second hole from the valve stick. And I'll go ahead and go all the way around and we'll come back. Okay, we've got the leading or tension spokes going because it goes this way. And one of the other things that I made when I was having the debate was I made my own spoke length measuring tool. And I said I didn't want to put it on the end. I wanted to get it in here, and I measured with a couple other centimeter tapes that this is accurate. So I drilled a hole right here, just to the off side of the 10. And so I can bring it in, and it's saying 246, but actually it's 10 minus, so it'd be down here 236. So okay, now I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to go to the K2, which is right here, and it will go to the next one over. In the K2. And we'll go here where I have K2 marked. On the, you probably can't see that. You probably haven't seen a lot of the last stuff, so let me move this over here. Okay. We're at a slight angle, so it may look like it's off a little bit. So we'll come back when I get this side done, and then we'll go, this is the other side of the leading spokes or the tension spokes. So we'll come back. Well, we figured out who's on first, and got all my undies in there. You had to really bend these undies to get under this one, and then to get around this one too. So now it's XX again, XX, 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 XX. All the holes are filled, alternates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was having a problem. I got like when I was K3, I'd put it in the wrong spot, and so that led me down the primrose path. But it's a lot stiffer now, and now that they're underneath, there's a little more less bend. I didn't have to bend them this time, and I also think that possibly on the links that the Inviolo app for that fits into an Excel spreadsheet or whatever, I use Open Office. It takes in consideration this underlap here, which is pushing this down, lifting this one up, and it's probably deflecting them by maybe 1 millimeter. So if you weren't going to cross them over, that I'd probably go maybe shorter with. But now the test of time comes up when I put it on the back on the frame to start truing it up. So let me remove some of the tape and we'll get back to that. Frame around so I have that extra shop light up there so I can watch. Got the gear, and one of the other things I wanted to check was, this is kind of in there loosely. I've got the new Surly 34 tooth in there, but I got a somewhat straight edge and a clamp holding it to the outside. And if we come up here to the outside, we're pretty close. So we got a good chain line, so that will be no problem. Well, I've got it all down to where I'm going. This last round was half a turn, and so it's starting to tighten up. And then I went around and grabbed them to flex them a little bit. I've seen them where they put a piece of wood in and flex them like that. Take some of the, I guess, tension out of it. You can see where, if you look down, these outside ones, or the inside ones kind of keep the outside ones bowed out there. So I was beginning to wonder there whether or not I was going to run out of threads again. So we'll see what we've got. They're just starting to come up. You can, well, it's really close on it. Well, I've been messing with it. I think as far as a 30-year-old bike, my first complete lace, that's pretty good. Let me reset up. I'll show you what else I've been doing to fine-tune this. See it, and let me get one in here. I bought this thing, and that's pretty accurate. They've been coming in at about 16 and a half. Pretty good consistency from both sides. So that was a little loose, but I ain't gonna mess with it. It's close enough. They say if you get them within a certain percentage of each other, then that's fine. So, well, just for an update, I tried putting the chain in, and I had a half length, but it's real floppy down in there. So I got I'm going to have to get the chain tensioner. I'll probably get the Shimano. So, but while I'm setting up here, I want to get rid of this thing. I've got this one's pulled down to where the guy is climbing the hill, and this is the upper one. They say it's the longest one when that happens, and it is. So we'll drop it on the floor and try to find. Oh, I had the set screw in there so I wouldn't lose it. Okay. Set that guy in there. I know the other end of the tubes here are in the shifter. can see I foobarred before on who's on first. And let's see, which way does this guy go? Upside down like that. Okay. And back off on it. It comes out. I guess since this one's in here and that one's tensioned, yeah, it's a good time to drop it. Well, I just got the tire on, and one of the things I do, is get the other side on first, get the tube in, and then I like to leave the valve stem out of it and pump up the tire to get the tube to fill in the space, and then I let the air out. But I found it's really easy to put clamps around it to hold the bead in as far into the middle as possible. And I come down here and it was almost, just pull over with hardly any touch. And had some stronger clamps over here, so I can move these guys now. Put the core back in and inflate it. Make sure that, you got the gear this way, it's going that way, the tire is pointing that way, so got that all done. So we'll come back when I pump her up. Well, I've got it, core in, cap back on, up to 40 pounds. So now we get to put on the shifter mechanism, and we line this up with the non-turn screws, and we'll check this out. I had some other things I had mentioned on, but I didn't. I deleted those videos. This is a multi-turn. Get back here so I can see. It's got the smaller hole. If it was a single turn, this hole would be much bigger. And it's got, you can, I don't know if you can see it that way, maybe a little better here. You can see there's an inner gear and an outer gear. And on the one turn, there is only this gear. Plus, this one has a smooth back, and the one turn has a kind of like waffled. There's little divots, in it. You'll know it when you saw one compared to this. The multi-turn is always smooth. The one turn, usually on the cargo bikes, because you're not using so much of the high end to be able to get that beast up to those speeds. And you'll also notice I've got this, when I put this up next to the frame, I put a piece of tape and then I marked where the dropout was. So you want to have this in full, I don't know, I guess this is overdrive. And when you put them on, so let me reset up where we're a little closer, get a better view of the hub. Yeah, I've got some tape here, just to remember where I'm at. So we could pull this thing off. I've only had this off a couple times, but mainly come out of there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. That blue marking on the two gears, that's to show you that it's in a certain position. And when you put this on, you want to line up all these marks, have this all the way up into, overdrive, and then slide that on. Okay, there we go. And then you put the little nut here on with the serrations out, they say. I believe that's so this grabs onto the frame. My hand's in the way here. 15, no, that must be a 17. Let me get the right wrench and we'll come back. Got it locked down with the serrations out. We're in full overdrive. I've got to mess with that until I take it off. And then pull this off, and this tape under here can come off too. There we go. Okay. Now I can put this on the bike and attach the cables. Getting closer to being finished. And got my brakes in the way. Get out of there. There we go. And make certain that you have them lined up so it's square in the frame, and this lines up where it should be. Could be down a little bit, you know, this be tilt that way a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there. So now we can bring up the cables. It's better to bring them up this way. And then probably pull this around. Why doesn't it want to go any more that way? I think somewhere along the line